League needs to increase instant replay to include judgment calls like pass interference. But yesterday, Giants owner John Mara said there's not much support to overhauling the replay system and added, quote, officials are just human. They're going to miss calls. We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Mark Schlereth. Good morning.
Good morning.
But Shannon, I'm going to go to you first on this. Are you surprised hearing that maybe this won't happen?
Did I tell you this wasn't going to happen, Skip Bayless? I tried to tell you this.
That might be the first thing you got right in 6 months.
No, I'm not surprised. And like John Mara said, the human element. So you want to replay the human element out of the game. Now, this was an egregious call. I think we all agree. We universally agree this was an egregious call. But are there this egregious calls like this every week? Because this is why they changed the rule with the catch. Because every single week we had to go back to replay, if this is or is this isn't a catch. Fumbles and interceptions. You got replay for that because calls are subjective. Mark might think that's holding. He played offensive line. I might look at it like, nah, you let that go.
You never thought it was holding. Go ahead.
There's never been a call that I thought was holding. Yeah.
Hey, those hands. But the thing is, Skip, is because, yes, this was egregious. The calls are not like this every week. And once the emotion, because you got to take the emotion out of it, because if they'd have voted probably right after the game, they might have had it. But once it dies down and you understand, well, hold on, these are human. It's the human element. We can't replay the human element out of the game, because if that's the case, we just need to get rid of all the officials except the referee so he can come on, because he has a microphone that you can talk.
The head guy.
Yeah. And let them know, okay, this was a holding. We saw it up in the booth. This was pass interference. And then when you look at things in replay, doesn't everything look worse in replay?
Sure.
So I knew this wasn't going to happen.
No, everything looks better in replay.
No, it
seriously.
No, it looks worse.
It's the flip of what you just said.
It looks worse.
It's clearer, right?
But you slow it down to the point where a bang-bang play all of a sudden becomes, oh, there's no question in replay that's egregious. Here's what's egregious is not handing it off on first down, then not handing it off on third down, right? That's what's egregious. So I've said this, I'm with you. I said it as soon as it happened. There's no way that they'll change this call. There's no way that they'll open this up to subjective penalties and change this call. Do you know why? More than any other reason? Because the NFL knows that you and me will be back, regardless of how angry you are. You know what we're selling? Crack to crack addicts. That's what the NFL sells. Like, we're all addicted to it, right? And they're selling it to us. So we can be mad, we can be upset, but you know what's going to happen? Ultimately, nothing. Nothing's going to happen because they don't need it to happen, because we'll all be back watching this sport. There is the human element, and there are plenty of mistakes that were made during the course of that game where the Saints should have won that game regardless of that call.
Had a 14-point lead.
So nothing's gonna.
My bad, 13.
I don't subscribe to that. Oh, let's change every rule because one team, had an unfortunate call go against them. They couldn't score in the red zone when they got the ball early in the first half. There's so many other things that went into the factor of them losing that game than just that one call.
But that one call kept the New Orleans Saints from going to the Super Bowl. And you say, well, I'll come back and watch the game, and a whole lot of people didn't come back to watch the Super Bowl because the ratings were the worst in 10 years. And you can't tell me that part of that wasn't because a lot of people sat back and said, that's just wrong.
A lot of people.
Like, that's tainted. This team doesn't even deserve to be playing in this game.
What about the team that represented the AFC? You don't think people were tired of them?
Yep, they're tired of them. And I said that'll be a factor, but there's also a factor of this was so egregious. There's nobody in the known world who didn't think that was the wrong call, right?
Right.
So all I want is a fail-safe to protect the game I love and you guys played at the highest level. I want it protected from human error. I get sick and tired of hearing human error. I used to fight with Jerry Jones. He called it human frailty. We need human frailty to be part of this game. You know why? Because he thinks controversy sells. Controversy in Dallas always sold, and he thinks if you get a bad call occasionally, and they'll even out in the wash over time for your team, but when you get a bad call, everybody's up in arms, and it actually promotes the popularity of your game. Well, that works to a point until there's a call so bad and so wrong that it costs the team the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. And we can go and pick that game all to pieces, and you're right, and you're right, and you're right. And I can pick it to pieces that, well, the Rams got a break here. And we can do that all day and all night. But it still came down to one play. And I still want somebody to have the opportunity to correct that on the fly. And again, I've thrown out all kinds of things. Last 2 minutes, at least you just put it under review. I don't want coaches' challenges because they could challenge a holding call or a judgment call where you'd say, I don't even know what to do with that. Well, I guess you're probably right. You just need a fail-safe. You need some exit strategy out of this predicament because we're better than that in 2019. Our technology is so much better than it ever was that we have to give somebody the opportunity, the head referee, Al Riveron sitting in New York, even the commissioner of the league. Somebody needs the opportunity to take one look, because all it would take is one look to say, we blew that one. Right. We got to overturn that one. You got to give them the opportunity to do that. And yet all I'm going to hear for the next couple of months is, got to keep human error in the game because it's always been part of the game. Well, can we outgrow human error at some point? Can we get better than human error?
Nope.
Why not?
Because coaches make mistakes, players make mistakes, referees make mistakes.
That mistake?
Well, here's the deal. Again, and I go back as a player. I was taught as a player from the very young age starting to play this game, we don't ever let the game boil down to one call.
Okay.
We take care of our stuff.
Okay,
we take care of our business.
That's your perspective, and you're right.
Right.
That's how you should coach it and teach how to play football.
And that's what Sean Payton said until it happened to him.
Yeah, that's what but that's what the great teams are able to do.
Okay,
that's why the New England Patriots have won 6 Super Bowls and been to 9 in the last 18 years.
But all a fan knows is, huh? That happened?
But here's the thing, Skip. If it happened on more occurrences than what we just saw in that game, Stink, you can remember this. You remember on kickoff, they used to allow you to have the 3-man wedge.
Yeah.
But they say the concussion rate was too high. Then it went down to 2. Now you can only have one guy.
Okay.
Because what we saw, Skip, it wasn't just every other game, but every 5 games. Once a game, twice a game, someone was getting concussed, running down trying to hit the 3-man wedge.
That has what to do with this?
I'm saying they changed the rules. If they had egregious calls, game after game after game after game, maybe you could see a groundswell for the change like they did the catch rule. Because it went from Calvin Johnson, it went to Dez Bryant, it went to the Jesse James with Pittsburgh Steelers. We saw it seemingly every single week. Man, that's a catch, and that's a catch. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're like, oh, we got to do something about this. Because I know what a catch is when I see it. They changed the rules. You said this is the most egregious call. I didn't see any like this in the first regular. Did you see any in 16 regular season game?
I know, but they don't matter like that. This decided the Super Bowl.
Skip. Well, Dallas can make a case that this decided because you said they would have gone to Seattle and beaten Seattle.
On the catch?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But it wasn't one step from going to the Super Bowl.
But the thing was, Skip, is that we saw these elements. We saw a case after case. This was an isolated incident. You make it say, how many of these have you seen in your playoff history of 40 years of covering the football? One. And you want to make a wholesale change after one.
I saw Mike Renfro at Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he did get both feet down. Yes.
But even that wasn't as late as this. I just want to eliminate this from the greatest game in the world, to me.
You can't eliminate
And yet, I'm going to warn both of you. Once upon a time, not too long ago, and you grew up in this sport because your son, we all thought baseball was the national pastime. And now it's not exactly this. Obviously, this sport has overtaken baseball in popularity. Okay, I got you. But here comes the NBA, and maybe all of a sudden, 10 years from now, you look up and you say, wait a second, the NBA overtook the NFL because the NFL couldn't protect the integrity of its game. Right?
Well, you can't keep the thing. Well, the thing is that, Skip, when you look at NFL, is that my team realistically have a chance to beat yours. On any given Sunday.
Yep.
How many times you think somebody gonna beat Golden State 4 times?
Right. I think here, real quick, just to piggyback on that, here's the other part about that. The NFL has done a great job of creating parity, and right now, guess what? Hope springs eternal. You've got free agency coming up, you got the draft coming up, and people will go back to their television sets because my team's got a chance this year to win it all.
I sure hope you're right.
All right, Mark. Thank you for being here today. Interesting stuff, guys. So will the Lakers go to Shannon's restaurant and pick up a hot
Hot doves tonight, Skip. I'm passing them out.
We'll see. We haven't talked about your restaurant in a while.